How you doing? My name is Sterling Alexander. I'm the CEO and founder of iPlan. And iPlan is an online platform where people will be able to create their wills and their trust online. And today I have my great friend Sheryl. We've been friends for 20 something years. Long time. And she was married to my good friend Eric. And one of the things that I wanted to share with this one is with iPlan, we've created I had an opportunity to create a estate plan for Eric before he passed. So Sheryl was down here visiting and just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about her experience with iPlan and just a few questions wanted to ask her. And I guess we'll start with some questions here. So Sheryl, so how did you and Eric approach the topic of estate planning before his illness?
Well, we had initially planned on getting everything done. I had everything set up, but we just never actually sat down and got around to it. So we had talked to, my brother here about his business, iPlan, and the more he talked about it, he made a trip. He was coming to our town, and so when we found out that, my husband was ill, it kind of put a little bit of more pressure on us to really get that going and get it started, and so that's how we ended up getting that started.
Okay. And so in what ways did Eric, his illness, influence the timing and the nature of the estate planning discussions and decisions on things that you guys would do?
Well, being that we had already talked about it and we started the process, we just never took the time to really just sit down and actually finalize things. And so when he became ill and we found out that it was progressing, that just made it more, real, so that we had to really sit down and get some things put in place so that, when he did get to that point, that he wasn't going to be here any longer.
And okay, yeah, because that's, and I think maybe in God's providence that I had something scheduled, and then the time Eric and I scheduled to spend time together, we were able to come down and and I remember talking to him on the phone and asking him about his estate plan, since it was a platform that we were creating and that we had launched. And so I know he said you guys had talked about those things, but I think it was great for that opportunity to be there at a time, because as we were talking about it today, that there was a time and space that if we wouldn't have got these things done, or were not able to get those things done, that he was in a very short period of time, even after I left, was not in that position to do that. It was great to be able there and have the platform and to be able to take care of that paperwork he needed.
Yeah, it was perfect timing. It was perfect. It was like it was planned, the way it transpired, the way everything, fell in line. And like I said, when we got everything completed, got everything filed, is when he started to go downhill. So it was perfect timing. It was perfect timing.
Okay. So another question would be, in what ways did the iPlan provide you with peace of mind during that time?
Oh, after he got to the place to where, the illness and the meds that he was on caused him to, not really be himself. And so being that we had this in place, it allowed me to be able to print off the HIPAA forms and the, the
direct physicians,
those other documents, directives, those physician directives, medical directives. When they were asked for them, I was able to present them to them because everything was already in place. It was electronic. So I was able to just go in and print them off and keep a file with me while I was there with him at the hospital. So it made it a lot easier. Took a lot of stress off of me in having to try to go and put something together, or it was just easily accessible. So it was very, very easy.
Okay. And so one question: how do you and Eric prioritize your estate planning? With the goals, and because there's children, there's grandchildren, things like that. Those conversations that you guys had prior to that, and Eric expressing his wishes and how things were going. So how did some of those things take place?
Well, before he found out about the illness, we had planned on doing certain things for the children and whatnot. But when we found out about the illness, and as it began to progress, and when he began to talk to you about all of this, he changed his mind, and he wanted to make sure that I was taken care of. I was priority, and he didn't want me to have to worry about anything, financially, emotionally, mentally, or otherwise. So this laid everything out so that it just came together. And once he got ill and the illness progressed, it was the perfect thing to do. And so once he passed on, it was a lot easier for me to be able to handle financial responsibilities with the banks and credit unions and the house and those types of things. So he laid everything out, and I was able to just follow it accordingly.
Great. So I know that you had to deal with the VA and have the funeral. It was a veterans funeral at one of the national cemeteries there in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And that was great. So what was the experience dealing with that?
Well, when it came to the documentation, all I had to do again was print off the documents, or in this case, I was able to email most of the documents that needed to be taken care of with the VA and with the cemetery, with the funeral director in North Carolina, as well as with the funeral home that was in Georgia that started the process, and being able to have him transported from Georgia to North Carolina, being able to email those documents was so much better, because I didn't have to continue to make multiple trips, over there to do unnecessary.
Because that was between Atlanta and North Carolina. Yeah, it was. So one last question is, what advice would you give to others who may be facing similar situations, or just thinking about estate planning, or maybe procrastinating on estate planning?
Yeah, with the plight of everything and costs continuing to rise and all those things, a lot of times people are not thinking that, oh, this is necessary. It's very necessary, because when you're gone, your loved ones are the ones left to have to bear the burdens of responsibilities that you did not take care of, or if you did take care of it, that makes it easier. But if you don't have something like this in place, it just makes it more difficult, because now you see the increase of individuals going to social media to do GoFundMe pages to raise money because this individual didn't have enough covering or didn't have covering at all. So now you're having to scrounge and ask people for donations to help cover things that, just a simple sit down and take some time and say, okay, this is what I need to get done, because I don't want my family or my loved ones to have to deal with this, because it's enough stress already losing that loved one. And on top of that, adding to it extra costs and fees and stuff that they don't have in their pocket. So I would strongly suggest that, if you have the opportunity to get your affairs, your estate planning, your wills and trusts in place, so that you can lay out everything to whomever you choose to designate as your primary or secondary, to make sure that those things are taken care of, and it's so much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier.
Cool. Yeah, for me, I think it was, I was proud. For me, it was a proud moment to be able to provide something, for my, I call him bruh, you know, my brother provide, and for you as well, because I know it was, you know, he laid out the things that he wanted to transpire, and after having discussions and talking to him, you know, like you said, it was his primary concern was, you know, taking care of his wife first. You guys had discussions about how, you know, other things would, you know, within the estate, you know, that you would take care of, and that it would be your primary responsibility to do those things. And for me, to have, you know, a platform that served that purpose, you know, to me, it's you know, it was proud. It was a proud moment for me, and you know, that's to me, you know, he's my good friend. You know, from owning a basketball team to him being my first, you know, season ticket holder, and then, you know, now this platform. You know, he was one of the first recipients that, you know, that kind of going through this process, and it helped. So, you know, that was, you know, proud for me, and you know, that's a story that I will always tell people and be able to share. So for me, that's a piece of every that I can, you know, continue carrying on and sharing with people, you know, as long as iPlan exists.
Exactly.
You know, even after that.
Exactly. And one of the things that just stood out to me, he was the type of person that was used to helping everybody else. And so when this was done, he turned to our brother here, and he was like, nobody's ever done nothing like this for me. And he cried. You remember?
I remember.
He cried. He was like, I appreciate that. He said, that touched me. He said, so I appreciate you doing this, because nobody's ever done. I'm used to doing everything for everybody else, but nobody's ever done nothing like that for me. So that's what I will remember, on top of the timing and how God laid everything out for it to be done. And so, yeah, so I'm thankful to, you know, to my brother and my sister, and, you know, just having this platform available, because it was very, very easy. It was very convenient. And yeah, so I got it myself now.
Yeah, now we sat here and just took care of yours. So yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of people ask me questions about iPlan, and have I heard, you know, back from any, has anybody ever had to use the documents, and you know, they just wanted to, you know, question, you know, the validity of things and of iPlan. And so you know, I'm honored just to have this, you know, my brother and my sister be able to use those things, and it'd be the, you know, they're the first ones that had to, you know, use the documents and things like that. So you know, totally honored to be in this position to do that. So, and we just want to, you know, make this testimonial so others can see and, you know, learn a little bit more about iPlan, and we'll have more things out there for you in the future. Stay tuned.